Well, Dave was chopping ballast in the back of a Union Pacific ballast car, November 1973. And he had decided he didn't want to work out in the elements, and he thought maybe he could go beg a job. And he went down to McIntyre Oldsmobile Cadillac in town here and went into the used car department and asked for a job. And obviously he said the right things for that interview because they hired him. That was a dream job for him. All the muscle cars were out. Selling cars was the neatest thing he thought he could do.
We had moved to Frank Street right after my dad had lost his first dealership. And I was in kindergarten. My mom was home and my dad worked, and we went to church every Sunday, and our life was very regulated, and it was centered around their faith.
Well, Dave had a lot of drive, a lot of personality, and he was married at a young age and raising a family, and just had a lot of get up and go, and that was right up my alley. So he was a big attraction to me.
Growing up, everybody was in different directions, but it was really important to my parents that we continued to eat together at a table, sitting down, having conversations. And now reflecting back, as I'm a parent of kids, and that is so important to me as well. Phones are not allowed at the dinner table. We grew up doing chores around the house, and eventually they bought land, which just made more chores.
Sunday was it was our one family day that work was shut off. So Dad's mind could be shut off. My parents were very religious, so it was just, I think, a structured day of togetherness is what I would say. So we had a very structured morning routine, and then at dinner, it was always sitting around the family dinner for a full family meal on Sundays. We never skipped it.
He worked 12 hours a day and was gone most of the time. We had Sundays off, and that was the time we gathered the family and would have our family meals and kind of eliminated all the chaos of during the week. And so that's kind of how we ran the home. And I paid the bills, and when times were tough, then we cranked it down at home.
By the time I was a kid, by the time I could remember my life, he was already, I guess, a leader in a lot of ways. So he already had the dealerships running. He was already a leader of a local church congregation. So I was constantly seeing him manage issues.
I think a lot of my younger years, you don't understand, you just know that my dad's working all the time. I know that there was a lot of stress going on because there would be family vacations that he would be, on the big brick phone that he would bring with him, or he'd just leave, so he would be rescuing things all the time. So that was kind of part of the family dynamic, was just knowing that he worked a lot. It wasn't until I got into probably high school where I understood that, he was an owner. It wasn't boastful ever. If anything, I think I looked at it as a sacrifice. I knew it was something that they were constantly saving their money for. It was always talked about, we're just saving, we're saving.
I can't remember how old I was, maybe 12 or 13 in Utah, in southern Utah. I had a cabin that my grandpa had in the mountains, and he had to leave us. He was on a motorcycle trip with my brother, and they met us, in Utah, and he had to just get up because things were kind of flying apart at work, and he just drove his motorcycle from southern Utah to Council Bluffs, Iowa, to put the store back together and fix it.
You saw people come and go, and you recognized that people didn't always work out, and Dad would have to come down and fill in those spots and make sure everybody was working hard and getting along and making things work in the store. Dad also did a lot of service with our church, and that took a lot of time. I would say that probably took as much time as business did, but it was good to see him do that service and grow up watching him, serve others and do what he could to help them, not for monetary gain or pay or anything, but just because he knew it was the right thing to do.
you listen to some of his stories about people would trade in objects for a vehicle when they would come to purchase a car. Like my brother Todd played the baritone, and how they came about that instrument was it was a trade-in for a vehicle. I think there's also a cow that was traded in, and we ended up getting the cow and eating the cow. So some of those things that just was like normal part of life for us was different.
He took this baritone that my older sister Sean used in school. And then in 5th grade, that's when the band teachers, recruit, and I was going to be in band. And they get to talking to you, and my mom's with me. I remember this like it was yesterday. And band's instructors look at me and goes, okay, great. I think you're going to make a great alto saxophone. And my mom interrupts, so she goes, nope, he's going to play the baritone. And I just kind of looked at her. And the baritone at the time was like the same size as me. It was like a mini tuba. And I hated the baritone, but that was my option. And I played the baritone through high school.
Coming to work with him, he's always told me a couple things. Obviously, having a strong work ethic is really, really important. And he said, it doesn't matter how good of a car guy you are. He said this many times to me. If you're not there, it doesn't really matter.
Dave was so involved with the car business, not just from the dealership end, but his 20 group and all of the things that encompass being a dealer principal. I mean, constantly researching, reading, everything about the car business, car news.
He's the kind of man that would allow you the opportunity to change your life financially and give you the opportunity to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
I mean, he rolled his sleeves up. He was boots on the ground, very engaged, very involved, and was just an extremely kind person. And although he's running a business, he did not forget the people part of that. And so I truly respect that. And he's done that through his entire career, which I really admire, because that's easier said than done.
It was really easy back then for me as a salesperson to climb on board and to do the things that he had asked us to do. Bottom line is that he taught us to get our mindset towards setting our goals higher and expecting more out of ourselves than what we did before.
During the COVID period, there were a lot of dealerships that had the ability to sell cars at a big premium, way over MSRP. Dave would never do that. And that's one thing. I looked around at all my dealers and which ones were doing it, which ones weren't. And Dave never would do something to that, and that affects his community, his reputation, his family's reputation. In fact, they were probably selling cars for less than they could have. So I think that really takes in consideration the integrity he has.
I saw him be very giving, even from a young age. And so there were many examples where he would sort of get involved and get somebody a loaner car, right, for free.
He is constantly looking at what he can do for someone, especially if he recognizes that someone is in need. It's quiet. You won't see it. You're not going to know. He gives. He gives a lot.
My parents have done a great job of trying to individually know the grandkids. When you tell them they have over 20 grandkids, like that's overwhelming, right, for anybody. But to really know that, like, not just that, but they show up at a soccer game. They show up to take them out to ice cream.
Motorcycle riding was his thing, and he taught the grandkids that. And they love it. All of them just kind of love that dirty, just riding and getting dust all over the place and jumping over the little water ponds and the hills and stuff. He likes that.
I know he likes to see good, clean progress on his acreage, and he takes a lot of pride in how that looks, and it's a very fun place for the kids to come over. Very inviting and welcoming place. So a day at his home with his family visiting him, I think that's very much a winning day.
There's lots to thank you for, but I think thank you for just giving me a wonderful life and being a great dad.
I am so proud to be your daughter. I think that's one thing that has been consistent for me is I feel like I can't tell you thank you enough. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to call you my dad.
I could not have asked for a better father. He's the greatest teacher that we've had.
Congratulations, Dad. We're so happy for you and your retirement. I hope nothing changes. We love having you around. Want to keep you around. We love you very much. We're grateful for all you've done for us, and very happy to be able to see you off into this next stage of life.
I hope that Dave spends a lot of great time with Jody, his kids, his grandkids, and his great-grandchildren.
I just wish Dave the very best. I hope he gets more time to spend with his family and friends. And
I think of you fondly as one of the best individuals I've ever met in my 41 years doing auto financing. So I wish you the best, and to your family also.
I'm excited for you, and what a great career you had. I definitely hope you're still around to go to lunch with us most days a week, because we definitely like having you around here, and we definitely need your mentorship as we go into this next chapter.
Dave, congratulations on such a successful career as you built these dealerships and just done such a great job and left your family in such a good position to be able to take the reins and go from there. You're a great businessman, but to me, more importantly, you're a great person.
I think you took an immense amount of stress in your life and continued to work through so much. You know, as a young father, I now see what you were juggling, and I'm amazed that you were able to do all that and be as effective as you were in everything that you did. So congrats. I have everything in my life owed to you and Mom, and I love you.
I'm so happy that you finally reached this state. Now, it was hard to hand the reins over. I think the boys will do fine without you. And it's nice that they're going to have you for counsel if they need you. It'll be my retirement too, because it'll be an adjustment. But happy retirement. And don't worry, it's going to be fine. We're going to have a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Job well done, my man. Job well done.